You've been feeling it, haven't you? That low hum beneath your skin, that sense that something fundamental is shifting, even though nothing visible has changed. You wake up at 3 in the morning with your mind racing through thoughts that don't even feel like yours. You dream in symbols and colors you've never seen before. You look at your old life, your routines, your conversations, your distractions, and they feel like clothes that no longer fit. Not because they're wrong, but because you've outgrown them. This isn't anxiety, this isn't burnout, this isn't a crisis, this is an upgrade, a spiritual recalibration happening at the frequency level of your being. And if you're experiencing what I'm about to describe, you're not losing yourself. You're remembering who you've always been beneath the conditioning. Let me be clear. A spiritual upgrade doesn't arrive with fanfare. It doesn't knock politely and wait for permission. It disrupts. It disorients. It dissolves the old to make space for the new. And most people, when they're in the middle of it, think something's gone terribly wrong. They pathologize their awakening. They medicate their metamorphosis. They try to shrink back into a version of themselves that no longer exists. But you're here because some part of you knows better. Some part of you recognizes that what's happening isn't a breakdown, it's a breakthrough. So let's talk about the signs. Let's name what you've been experiencing so you can stop resisting it and start working with it. First, the restlessness. It shows up as an inability to settle. You sit down to watch a show you used to love, and within minutes you're reaching for your phone not because the show is boring, but because something inside you refuses to numb out anymore. You scroll, but nothing satisfies. You eat, but the hunger isn't in your stomach. It's in your soul. You try to sleep, but your body won't let you rest because rest right now would mean staying stagnant, and your spirit is demanding movement. This restlessness isn't random. It's intelligent. It's your internal system rejecting outdated frequencies. Think of it like this. When you upgrade software on your phone, the old apps stop working properly. They glitch. They freeze. They become incompatible with the new operating system. That's what's happening inside you. Your consciousness is upgrading, and the old patterns, the old coping mechanisms, the old identities, the old relationships are incompatible with the frequency you're stepping into. You might feel it as dissatisfaction, but it's actually direction. Your soul is saying, not this anymore, not this version, not this frequency, and until you listen, the restlessness will intensify. Then there are the dreams. Vivid, strange, symbolic dreams that feel more real than waking life. You're flying or drowning, or standing in a house with infinite rooms. You're being chased, or you're searching for something you can't name. You meet people you've never seen before who speak to you like they've known you forever. You wake up, and the dream clings to you all day like a message you're trying to decode. These aren't just dreams, they're downloads. Your subconscious mind is processing the upgrade in the only language it knows: symbols, metaphors, archetypes. Carl Jung understood this. He called dreams the royal road to the unconscious. But during a spiritual upgrade, dreams become more than reflection. They become instruction. Your higher self, your guides, your soul's blueprint, they're all speaking to you while your conscious mind is out of the way. Pay attention to recurring symbols. Water often represents emotion and the unconscious. Houses represent the self. Staircases represent levels of consciousness. Death in dreams rarely means physical death. It means transformation, the end of an old identity. If you're dreaming of death, birth, or radical change, your psyche is telling you, something in you is dying, so something truer can emerge. And here's where it gets interesting. You start losing tolerance for superficiality. Conversations that used to entertain you now feel exhausting. Small talk feels like sandpaper on your soul. You can't fake interest anymore. You can't pretend to care about things that don't align with your deepening truth. People notice. They say you've changed. They say you're distant, or different, or difficult. And maybe you are, but not because you're broken, because you're becoming whole. A spiritual upgrade raises your frequency, and when your frequency rises, you become incompatible with lower vibrational exchanges. Gossip, drama, complaint, distraction, these things literally drain you now in a way they didn't before. It's not that you're judging others, it's that your energy field is recalibrating, and it's protecting you from what no longer serves your evolution. This can feel lonely. You might look around and realize that the people you used to connect with no longer speak your language. The places you used to go no longer feel like home. The activities you used to enjoy no longer light you up. And in that space there's grief. Grief for the old version of you. Grief for the relationships that can't make the journey with you. Grief for the simplicity you used to have before you knew what you know now. But here's the truth beneath the grief. You're not losing your tribe, you're finding it. The upgrade is clearing space. It's making room for connections that match your new frequency. People who see you without explanation. People who challenge you to grow instead of asking you to shrink. People who understand that silence can be communion, and that depth is the new currency. You might also notice synchronicities increasing. You think of someone and they text you. You need an answer and a book falls off the shelf. You see repeating numbers 111, 444, 555 everywhere you look. You overhear a stranger's conversation and it's exactly what you needed to hear. The universe starts speaking to you in coincidences that are too precise to dismiss. This isn't magical thinking. This is quantum alignment. When your frequency rises, your awareness expands. You start noticing the patterns that were always there, but that you were too distracted to see. You become attuned to the web of connection that links all things. You realize that reality is far more responsive, far more participatory than you were taught. Synchronicities are breadcrumbs. They're confirmation that you're on the right path. They're the universe saying, yes, keep going, you're aligned. And the more you acknowledge them, the more they multiply, because energy flows where attention goes. Then there's the physical component. A spiritual upgrade isn't just mental or emotional, it's cellular. You might experience unexplained fatigue, as if your body is running a marathon while you're sitting still. You might have headaches, especially at the crown of your head or in your third eye. You might feel tingling sensations, temperature shifts, or waves of energy moving through you. Your sleep patterns might change. Your appetite might shift. You might crave silence, or nature, or solitude in ways you never have before. This is your nervous system recalibrating. Your body is quite literally rewiring itself to hold a higher frequency. Think of it like a house being rewired for a stronger electrical current. The process is disruptive, but it's necessary. And it's temporary. Your body is incredibly intelligent. It knows how to integrate this shift, but it needs your support. Rest when you need to rest. Drink water. Move your body gently. Spend time in nature. Ground yourself. This isn't indulgence, it's integration. You might also experience what feels like a dark night of the soul. A period where everything you believed is questioned, where your faith is tested, where the structures you built your life on start to crumble. This isn't punishment. This is purification. The upgrade can't happen if you're clinging to the old, so the old has to fall away. Not to destroy you, but to liberate you. This is where many people turn back. They interpret the collapse as failure. They try to rebuild what's falling apart instead of allowing the death that precedes rebirth. But if you're reading this, you're not turning back. You're staying in the fire. You're trusting that what's breaking open is breaking you free. During this phase, you might feel invisible, like no one sees you, like your efforts don't matter, like you're shouting into a void. This is actually a gift. The universe is removing external validation so you can find your worth internally. It's stripping away the applause so you can hear your own voice. It's taking away the mirrors so you can stop performing and start being. Invisibility is the cocoon, and you can't rush a cocoon. The caterpillar doesn't become a butterfly by force, it becomes a butterfly by surrender, by allowing the dissolution, by trusting that what looks like an ending is actually a beginning. And then, at some point, the shift happens. It's subtle at first. You wake up one morning and the heaviness is a little lighter. The restlessness has softened into curiosity. The grief has transformed into gratitude. You look at your life and instead of feeling trapped, you feel spacious. Instead of feeling lost, you feel free. You start to see the upgrade for what it is. Not a disruption, but a deepening. Not a crisis, but a clarification. You realize that every uncomfortable moment was your soul's way of saying, there's more for you. Don't settle. Don't shrink. Don't go back to sleep. This is when you start to embody the new frequency. You speak differently. You move differently. You choose differently. You stop apologizing for your intuition. You stop explaining your boundaries. You stop dimming your light to make others comfortable. You become unapologetically yourself, not the self you were conditioned to be, but the self you came here to be. People will notice this too. Some will be inspired. They'll ask what changed, they'll want what you have, and some will resist. They'll try to pull you back into the old dynamic. They'll call your growth selfish, they'll say you've lost yourself. But you'll know better. You haven't lost yourself. You found yourself. And that's the most generous thing you can do, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Because when you upgrade, you give others permission to do the same. Your frequency shift creates a ripple. It changes the field. It shows people what's possible when you stop performing and start embodying. When you stop chasing and start trusting. When you stop forcing and start flowing. This is the work of our time. Not just personal healing, but collective elevation. Every person who does the inner work, who faces their shadows, who integrates their upgrades, that person becomes a beacon. A living example that transformation is not only possible, but inevitable when you stop resisting it. So if you're in the middle of this, know that you're not alone. Know that what you're experiencing has been experienced by every mystic, every seeker, every soul who dared to evolve beyond the consensus reality. You're in good company, ancient company, holy company. The restlessness will pass, the dreams will integrate, the loneliness will transform into solitude and solitude into sovereignty. The physical symptoms will ease as your body adjusts, the dark night will give way to dawn. And on the other side, you'll look back and realize that this wasn't something happening to you, it was something happening for you. The upgrade isn't comfortable, but comfort isn't the goal. Growth is, alignment is, becoming who you were, always meant to be. That's the goal. And every moment of discomfort, every moment of doubt, every moment of dissolution is bringing you closer to that. So stop resisting, stop pathologizing, stop trying to go back. You can't go back. The door has closed. The old frequency is no longer accessible. And that's not a loss, that's protection, that's grace. That's the universe saying, you're ready for more, and I'm not letting you settle for less. Trust the process. Trust the restlessness. Trust the dreams. Trust the isolation. Trust the breakdown. Trust the upgrade. Because on the other side of this transformation is a version of you that you've been waiting your whole life to meet. A version that's awake, aligned, and fully alive. A version that doesn't just survive, it creates, it magnetizes. It transforms not just itself, but everything it touches. You're being rewired for a higher purpose. You're being recalibrated for a deeper love. You're being upgraded for a life that your old self couldn't even imagine. And that's not something to fear, that's something to honor. If this resonated with you, if you felt seen in these words, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want more of this frequency, not because algorithms matter, but because alignment does. And every time you choose content that elevates you, you're voting for the future you're becoming. You're in the middle of a spiritual upgrade, and the best thing you can do is stop fighting it and start trusting it, because you're not falling apart, you're falling into place.